Welcome to Deidre Reg Knowledge Capsule. Okay, let's dive in. If you're looking at expanding into Latin America, well, Mexico is almost certainly high on your list, right?
Absolutely. It's a huge market. We're talking the second largest pharmaceutical market there, just after Brazil.
And you see this growth driven by, well, population increases, obviously, but also a real government push for better healthcare access.
Exactly, which sounds great, a massive opportunity. But actually getting your product, whether it's a new drug, a generic, or a biologic approved, that's where the challenge lies.
It's navigating the system, isn't it?
It really is. And the key player, the gatekeeper you need to understand, is the Federal Commission for the Protection Against Sanitary Risks. You'll hear it called COFEPRIS.
COFEPRIS, right? They handle everything.
Pretty much everything regulatory. Clinical trials, manufacturing standards, labeling, and crucially, that final market approval.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our mission today is really to map out that COFEPRIS registration pathway, but maybe less textbook steps and more. The practical hurdles.
Like the mandatory local requirements that often catch companies out.
Yes, exactly, those things. And also, importantly, are there ways to speed things up? Any kind of reliance mechanisms or expedited pathways?
There are, and that's the strategic angle. It's not just following steps, it's choosing the right path. And that path really depends right from the start on what kind of product you actually have.
Okay, so that classification is step one. COFEPRIS has, what, 4 main buckets for medicines needing registration?
That's right. Broadly speaking, you've got 4. First, new chemical entities, or NCEs. These are the novel drugs, so they get the full, intense scrutiny.
Makes sense.
Then you have generic drugs. The key here is showing they're equivalent to a drug already approved in Mexico.
Bioequivalent studies, I assume?
Precisely. Third are biologics and biosimilars. These are complex, so the requirements are pretty demanding.
Right.
And finally, a slightly less intense category. OTC drugs and herbal products still need registration, but the pathway is a bit different.
Let's talk timelines for the most common ones. Say, an NCE versus a generic. What are we realistically looking at?
For an NCE, it's a thorough process. You need that full dossier, ideally in the CTD format, Common Technical Document format. Covers quality, preclinical, clinical data, risk management, the works.
So, time-wise?
Without using any special pathways, you're generally looking at something like 12 to 18 months just for the review. Could be longer for really complex NCEs.
Okay, 12 to 18 months. And generics, you said faster?
Yeah, usually faster, typically around 8 to 12 months. The main thing there is proving bioequivalence with the reference drug already approved in Mexico.
Do international bioequivalence studies count? Or do they always want local ones?
That's a key point. Their default is often to ask for local studies. You can get waivers, maybe based on robust international data, but it's not automatic. That local study requirement, it can be a real-time sync if you haven't planned for it way ahead.
Okay. So even the faster generic route has potential delays. And I'm guessing biologics and biosimilars, that's even longer.
Oh, definitely. Significantly more demanding. Given the complexity of biologics, COFEPRIS needs extensive comparability data, really solid quality information. Module 3, the CMC part, is critical.
And pharmacovigilance too, I imagine.
Absolutely. Very stringent requirements. You need detailed PV plans, and often they'll mandate specific post-approval risk mitigation strategies. It really pushes the review time beyond even the NCE timeline. Strategic planning there is crucial.
So minimum 8 months for a generic, maybe up to 18 months or even more for NCEs and biologics, just for the review itself. And approval isn't permanent, right?
Correct. For all these types, NCE, generic, biologic, OTC, the initial marketing authorization is standard, 5 years. You have to proactively renew it after that. It's an ongoing commitment.
Okay, now, this is where I think it gets really interesting, especially for companies maybe used to, say, the FDA or EMA process, the specific Mexican requirements, the documentation hurdles.
Yes, this is often where unexpected delays happen. While the core dossier uses that familiar 5-module CTD structure, there are 2 big local requirements that are absolutely non-negotiable.
Let's hear them.
First, language. Everything. Every single page of your dossier, all supporting documents, labels, it all has to be submitted in Spanish.
Okay, translation required.
But not just any translation. It needs to be certified translation. Think about a huge NCE dossier, potentially tens of thousands of pages. The logistics and cost of getting that all certified, it's massive. Can easily add months just to your preparation time.
Wow. Okay, certified Spanish translation, that's a big one. What's the second major hurdle?
This one's about local presence and legal responsibility. Foreign companies must appoint a local legal representative. The official term is responsible sanitario.
A responsible sanitarian, so like a local agent.
It's much more than just an agent or consultant. This person is mandatory. They are your official liaison with COFEPRIS, yes, but crucially, they take on legal responsibility for the product's quality and pharmacovigilance compliance within Mexico.
Legal responsibility. So their neck is on the line, so to speak.
Pretty much, yes. If there are serious compliance issues, maybe a missed safety report, a quality failure, COFEPRIS holds the responsible sanitario directly accountable. That could mean fines or even suspension of their professional license.
So choosing this person is critical. What's the mistake companies make here?
Underestimating the weight of the role. Picking someone just because they're convenient or maybe cheaper without fully vetting their expertise and their understanding of that personal liability, that's a huge strategic error. They need to be qualified and ready for that accountability.
Makes sense. Speaking of accountability, what about manufacturing? GMP standards. Does COFEPRIS demand their own inspections for every foreign plant?
You definitely need GMP certificates. That's mandatory. Now, COFEPRIS does recognize GMP certifications from certain trusted regulators, think FDA, EMA, Health Canada. This is part of their harmonization effort.
Okay, so recognition helps.
It can save time initially, yes. But, and this is the crucial caveat, COFEPRIS explicitly states they retain the authority to conduct their own site inspections whenever they deem it necessary. So even with recognized GMP, you have to be perpetually ready for a potential COFEPRIS inspection.
So recognition isn't a guarantee against inspection. That feels like another potential delay. It seems like a lot of hurdles. Is there anything faster? You mentioned modernization, alliance.
Yes, and this is where proactive planning really pays dividends. COFEPRIS has indeed established a formal reliance pathway.
How does that work?
If your product, particularly an NCE, has already gained approval from what COFEPRIS considers a trusted regulator, specifically the FDA, EMA, or Health Canada, you can leverage that.
How? Do you submit less documentation?
Exactly. You submit proof of that prior approval along with a significantly abridged dossier. COFEPRIS essentially relies on the rigorous review already done by, say, the EMA.
What parts of the dossier get less scrutiny then?
They typically put less focus on reviewing the extensive non-clinical data, Module 4, and the big clinical data package in Module 5. They trust the partner agency's assessment there. Their review then concentrates more on local specifics, the administrative and legal aspects in Module 1, and the quality CMC data in Module 3, ensuring it's suitable for Mexico.
That must cut down the timeline significantly from that 12-18 months we talked about earlier.
It really can. It's the biggest potential time saver, especially for NCEs. If your documentation is in order, Reliance could potentially shorten that review period down towards maybe the 8 to 10 month range. It bypasses a lot of the back and forth on clinical evidence.
That's a huge difference, but just getting COFEPRIS approval isn't the final step for actual sales, is it? There's pricing to consider.
Ah, yes, a very important point, especially if you're aiming for the public sector market, which is enormous in Mexico. Registration is COFEPRIS, but pricing involves another body.
Who's that?
The Interministerial Commission for the Control of Prices of Medicines and Health Supplies, usually called CIPM. They handle price controls and negotiations, particularly for products going into the public health system. You really need to manage these processes. COFEPRIS registration and CIPM pricing somewhat in parallel to optimize your actual time to market.
Okay, good point. Back to speeding up COFEPRIS review, though. Besides reliance on other agencies, can a drug get priority based on what it does? Like if it meets a critical need?
Yes, there's provision for that. COFEPRIS can grant accelerated reviews on a case-by-case basis. The criteria generally focus on priority health products.
Such as?
Things like designated orphan drugs, treatments for public health emergencies, think pandemic-related therapies, and also new formulations specifically for pediatric use. If your product fits one of those high-priority categories, you can definitely make a case for faster processing.
Right. So you get the approval, maybe faster via reliance or priority review. The product's on the market. But the work isn't over.
Post-market surveillance. Absolutely not over. Maintaining that authorization requires a robust, ongoing pharmacovigilance system operating within Mexico.
What does that involve, practically speaking?
Well, you need to formally appoint a qualified person for pharmacovigilance, the QPPV, based locally. You need to maintain local safety databases. And you have to follow COFEPRIS's specific reporting rules.
Like PSURs.
Exactly. Submitting periodic safety update reports according to their schedule. And crucially, reporting adverse events, especially serious or unexpected ones, within very strict timelines.
How strict?
For serious unexpected events, reporting can be required very quickly, sometimes within 72 hours. Missing these deadlines carries significant penalties. This again highlights why having a competent, reliable, responsible sanitario is so vital. They're often overseeing this compliance.
Okay, so putting it all together, the complexities, the local rules, the potential accelerators,
Yep.
if you were giving someone a quick guide, a sort of strategic checklist, before they even start compiling that dossier for Mexico, what would be the top 3 things?
3 non-negotiables based on what we consistently see. First, early regulatory consultation. Don't just assume your pathway based on other markets. Engage with COFEPRIS or experienced local consultants early on. Define the best path, full submission, reliance, and identify potential data gaps before you file.
Smart. Avoid surprises. What's number 2?
Second, leverage international approvals whenever possible. If you have that FDA, EMA, or Health Canada green light, make the reliance mechanism your primary strategy. That's your biggest time saver, especially for innovative products.
Makes sense. And the third, it has to relate to those local requirements, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Third is engage qualified local experts. This isn't just about translation, though getting the certified Spanish right is critical. It's about finding that truly capable, responsible sanitario who understands the legal accountability. And using local regulatory consultants who know COFEPRIS inside out can smooth the whole process, especially the administrative reviews in Module 1. Fixing small admin issues quickly keeps things moving.
Okay, so to recap the keys to success. Meticulous preparation of that Spanish dossier, engaging early with the regulators or experts, aggressively using reliance if you can, and having that strong, accountable local presence through the responsible sanitaria.
That sums it up well. And if you connect those dots, you see COFEPRIS isn't just operating in isolation. Their move towards harmonization, towards relying on trusted international agencies. It's significant.
How so?
Well, because Mexico is such a major market and its regulator is becoming more aligned with global standards, it's increasingly seen as a benchmark for the whole Latin American region. Getting that COFEPRIS approval, it doesn't just open the door to Mexico's large patient population, it effectively acts as a gateway to broader Latin America.
Ah, interesting. So approval in Mexico might make subsequent approvals in other LATAM countries easier.
Potentially, yes. It builds credibility, and other regulators in the region often do look towards COFEPRIS standards and decisions when evaluating products.
That really sets up a fascinating final thought for you, our listener, to consider. If Mexico continues down this path, aligning more closely with FDA and EMA standards, embracing more reliance, how quickly might we see that kind of harmonization cascade through other major Latin American markets, think Colombia, Argentina, Chile? Could regional regulatory convergence dramatically simplify market entry across LATAM in the coming years? That's certainly the trend to watch. Thank you for tuning into this knowledge capsule. We look forward to sharing more insights with you next time.